Hi everyone, welcome to the Sporting Life and Timeform racing preview video for Saturday. And we're just going to concentrate on the big betting race at Ascot on Saturday, the 240, the Peroni Victoria Cup. And we're going to see who will be raising a glass to at Ascot on Saturday afternoon. We've got Matt Brocklebank from Sporting Life and Kieran from Timeform to go through the runners and riders in this 23-runner Victoria Cup. And looking at the Timeform ratings, Kieran, we've got a horse in Kingdom Come who's found himself at the top of the ratings, and he's got a P as well. So plenty expected from Clive Cox's horse.
Yeah, he's done nothing wrong since he came back for an absence. He ran twice at 2. Then he was off from September 2021 until January this year. But he's 3 from 3. All of those wins over 7 furlongs at Kempton. And we'll touch on him very shortly. But you can see there he's got the P, which means potential for even further improvement. Him and Baradar with that Lincoln form represented, they head the way. And then you've got the likes of Admiral D, who is a frustrating character, but he'll definitely get his ground. And the likes of Vaffortino, last year's winner, should I say, and some other course and distance specialists. So yeah, it's, as ever, it's a tricky puzzle. It can throw up an odd shock result now and again, and yeah, hopefully we've found the winner to pay for a few Peronis, but it is tricky.
One thing you do look for at Ascot is a sand-based track, Ascot, and all-weather form can translate well. Well, it's going to have to for Kingdom Come, isn't it? Because his last 3 runs have all come at Kempton. Yeah,
and he was really impressive last time. He beat Rainbow Fire, who was a winner again since. George Bowie had a horse in 3rd called All the King's Men. That came out and ran really well at Newcastle last Friday night. And he's been raced £7 in the weights now. When you see that win, he beat Rainbow Fire by 1 length and a quarter quite comfortably. You wouldn't say £7 would stop him. The issue I have with Kingdom Come would be the grounds. They stopped him from running at Doncaster early in the season because of rain softened ground. And I've just had a look at the forecast now. We're filming this on Thursday, and it's got a lot of rain in the forecast up to Saturday. Saturday's got to be quite dry, but we could be talking about quite testing conditions here, and that was just enough to put me off. He deserves to be favourite on form. It would just be a case of, can he reproduce that all-weather form in grounds that connections possibly feel might be against him. So I'd take him on at the top of the head of the market.
He's drawn in 18, Matt, Kingdom Come. Do you think you really want to be middle to stand side in this race?
Yeah, that's what history suggests, isn't it? I know later on into the season at Ascot, it seems that when the ground comes up really soft, you can see horses darting over towards that far side and you're getting that better bit of ground. But yeah, history tells us good ground, soft ground in the Victoria Cup. You want to be high or mid to high. And we've seen it before where they can kind of break up into little groups, obviously, and sometimes that group on the far side is really quite small and you can be marooned. So anything drawn in single figures could be in danger sort of soon after the stalls are open.
The pace looks to be stand side as well, doesn't it? You've got Tylos in 19, Kingdom Coming 18, Biggles in 23. They're all prominent racers and they could just drag the field across.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of words out my mouth there, Scoop. I think you do want to be behind this Timeform. If you look at the race card, it says the draw is against low, and I just think those probably drawn 1 to 6, maybe 7. They might just be out on a wing, whereas if you draw an 8 or 9 or lower, you can probably track across. But to me, you do seem to want to be middle to high, I think. It's
a cracking race, isn't it, to watch and watch again. Yeah. Revisit this race. I think it was it last year, Dark Shift was a bit of an eye-catcher.
He was, yeah.
On to win at Royal Ascot. So you're going to have horses, obviously, reopposing in the Royal Hunt Cup and the Buckingham Palace. So it's a race to really keep an eye on, even if you're back to loser.
Yeah, we touched on him when we were talking about Kingdom Come. Rainbow Fire, already a winner for value bet this year, Matt, and that Haydock form could be key.
It could be, yeah. There's a couple in here, aren't there? We had Rebel Territory as well at Newmarket the other week, and he's running as well. Rainbow Fire, I thought Rainbow Fire did it well. Rainbow Fire is one of these horses that I think will probably at some stage soon this season appreciate going back to a mile. He's a real long striding horse, a son of Kodiak, a lightly raced 5-year-old for Marco Botti, and I thought he did it quite well when he kind of like ground his way to the front to beat Guidor, and Biggles was in there as well. Biggles quite a consistent, solid sort of performer, a 6-year-old, but this horse is open to a bit more improvement. He's not been hammered, has he, by the handicapper? He's only gone up £4. Like I say, he's record now on turf is 3 wins from 4 starts.
Up £4. Would he be on the shortlist then, do you think?
Yeah, it'd have to be. Yeah, he's not exactly a short price, is he? He's an each way price. Marco Botti's not had him too long, and his record's really he's got a good profile.
Kieran, a couple of others to talk through. Vaffatino won this race last year. His form ties in with Rebel Territory from Newmarket earlier in the season. Just go through those 2 chances.
Yeah, like I say, they met at Newmarket. There wasn't much between them. Rebel Territory's drawn 2. We touched on the draw earlier. That'll be a big concern for me. You'd fancy Vaffatino to overturn that form. I think he's £6 higher in the weights this time around. There just seems to be a couple in there who are lurking on potentially good marks. He'll probably give his run in. He normally does here. He's got Benoit de Lassalle on, who usually takes the ride. You just worry off a mark of 103. Is there any progress in that kind of mark? I think he'll run his race and be thereabouts without winning, I think.
Yeah, fairly well fancied horses, but the 2 most fancied horses, Matt, you have to say, would be Baradar, who somewhat caught the eye in the Lincoln handicap earlier in the season, and Totally Charming, who I know that you are quite sweet on.
Yeah, I mean, they're both fascinating, aren't they? Both 5-year-olds, both low mileage. Both George Bowie as well. Obviously, Baradar now, he's been around the trainers. I had to think twice then. He's obviously been with Johnny Murta. He was with Roger Veron originally as well, and had lost his way a bit for Murta, but, the change of stable to George Bowie. He won really nicely on heavy ground, 7 furlongs at Doncaster. And then he caught the eye. He was a real eye-catcher in 3rd behind Migration in the Lincoln. That form's already worked out extremely well. Obviously, we've had winners come out of that. Bo Pedro, as you mentioned there the other week, and Baradar. You'd imagine there's still a little bit of wriggle room there off his mark of 97. And then Totally Charming, the stablemate, stall 13 compared to Baradar in 7. Again, might not be ideal, the single-figure draw. Totally Charming would be the one if I had to back one of these at the top of the market. If you look at him, he went over to Ireland for the Irish Lincolnshire, and he obviously had to run off that higher mark of 104. Well, he comes back to the UK off 101. Not only that, but Billy Loughnane takes off £3 as well. So plenty in his favour. Again, he's another one that ended last season with a heavy ground 7 furlong win at Doncaster, where he beat Bo Pedro.
Yeah,
it's good form. I think they were talking about him maybe nicking, group races this season if he kicked on as hoped. And the comeback run, he ended up 7th, but it's well worth looking back, the Irish Lincolnshire race. He hits the front, definitely too soon. He hits the front with a furlong to travel, and he's still there in front. Even if you go back to last year's form when he ran in the Hunt Cup, he travelled like a really good horse. He made that move. Like, I almost think he could drop back to a stiff
7's his bag, isn't it?
Stiff 7, on soft ground. He's going to be absolutely ideal for this horse. If there is a proper group horse sat here in the handicap, it could be Totally Charming, and stall 13 at least gives Billy options. But I'd imagine he'll be headed towards this far side and tracking the pace.
So Totally Charming for you.
Totally Charming. Can I throw one in at a bit of a wild price?
You can.
Safe Voyage, trained by John Quinn. This horse is 10 years old. When it comes to Quinny, I don't mind if his horses are sort of 25 on the flat. It doesn't seem to matter. Comes from stall 22.
He'll love the ground.
He'll absolutely love it. He almost won the Foray a few years ago. You're going back a bit now, and he hasn't won too much lately, but he's just shown signs recently. Again, he ran in the Lincoln, ran okay, but he was more... he stepped up on that Lincoln comeback run when 3rd at Thirst last time. Runs off the same mark, 97. He's got an excellent chance on anything like his best form over the past 2 years.
And quickly, Kieran, your selection for the race?
Yeah, a few made my shortlist. Fresh is on the same mark as when he's a 3 times course and distance winner. I think he won this a couple of years ago, or he's won similar events here. The ground would be a slight concern for me. I did look at River Nymph, but the ground is fine, but that one might just need to run. So the 2 I've gone for, it's all about back class with these. We've got a former Royal Ascot winner in Perotto. Now, he won the Britannia off 99 2 years ago. He used to be trained by Marcus Tregonin. He's now trained by Roger Varian. Now, Roger Varian has already had a winning newcomer from that yard this year in Island Star. He's running here off 97. One thing he'll get is a strong pace to run at. We know he stays a bit further. Now, he's unproven on soft ground, but he is by New Bay, so that progeny tends to go well in any ground, really. So the ground holds no concerns. Lovely draw in 21. You feel like the layoff isn't going to be an issue. He's run well fresh in the past. He's going to get a nice toe into it, you think, with David Egan on board. he's a big price. He's 14 to 1. I thought that was, worth getting stuck into each way. And the other one, an even bigger price, is it's hard to believe he's only 5, but Ross Collin, trained by David O'Meara, who
he's been around a while, hasn't he?
Yeah, in his horses to follow, bit of Timeform's horses to follow, he said, give us a handicapper to follow for the season, and this was his selection. He's down to 97 now, which is his lowest mark since winning at Epsom on Derby Day a couple of years ago. He shaped really well in a couple of big handicaps last year. He was only just touched off at Goodwood off a mark of 101. He's here off 97. Drawn 9, bit of a concern, but you think he's just going to track across and sit behind them.
The wind up as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he ran really well second time after a wind up previously. And you just think he had a lovely prep behind Rainbow Fire at Haydock last time. He's come down a couple of pounds. I think this has been their early season target. He's 22 to 1. I think back him and Perotto each way, and Totally Charming win only, and up for the best.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
It is that kind of race, the Victoria Cup. 4 selections for the panel, 23 runners on the Ascot straight course. It should be a fine spectacle. Good luck if you're playing in the race. Hope you enjoyed our Victoria Cup preview.